like I say, everything since I owned the football teams or I was the star of football teams, because people were like, "What are you, blood sport?" And they were watching animals attack each other. And I was like, I don't like you doing that to my animals. I don't like. I mean, what's besides the lion game, whatever. Like that's why the matador things where you, what's it called? And the Spanish or whatever created the way of being able to jab the matador really fast, the bull really fast to kill it in one stroke. And those people trained their whole lives to be able to do that. They're very good. Anyway, and to make it so they can kill him the most painless way, the fastest way. So anyway, like I say, I don't like to see animals suffering or any kind of suffering, actually. Like I say, I owned the Roman Colosseum. I owned and built the Roman bathhouses. I was protecting women of dispute for millions upon thousands of years. I was the one who was paying the Spartans. I was the one who was paying the gypsies. The commemorative football rings. When you go when some guy is wearing a commemorative uh, World Cup or whatever football ring, you know who had to okay those rings for those football games? You know who had them do the diamonds and everything on those commemorative, what is it? The bowl. You might as well call it the Brian, the Bry. But all the commemorative World Football Bowl or whatever, all the sports games. I was the one that had to okay those rings to be given out, and I was the one who actually gave out those rings. I wanted them to be so nice, and actually okayed the money to be spent on that, or for them to be produced for the people who win the whatever. Even the finances of basically the football stars. Like I say, when a football star is paid like $32 million or $5 million, it's getting a little extreme. But I was the one who okayed some of that. It's all my money, and I had to okay it. Like I say, I own this planet, and I'm the creator of endoskeleton life forms, exoskeleton life forms, 1.5s, all the trees, even rain seeding. People are like, well, it rains or it doesn't. And I'm like, well, actually, raindrops can gather around particles, and as soon as you actually like get the rain going, it'll continue to rain usually. So I was probably having some Germans work on it, or some other people work on it, and the problem is getting some sort of safe thing. Actually, I think we were starting out with just flying over with tanks of water, and then spray bars and getting the rain. Once you get a little bit of water flowing through the clouds, usually the raindrops will whatever or something like that. I was actually at the start of the because there's all these rainmakers. So I put some scientists on it and spent some money on it or whatever, or directed some people to start working on. I was like, I was looking at it, I was thinking about it. I was like, there's other ways you could do that. Should be able to get it to rain. So I had some scientists working on that. So that's all me. So bringing rain to the desert. Like I said, your whole existence was just wrapped around me. I had to okay everything from, like, that's why I say I'm the one who directed all the company structures in your companies, the way companies are structured, the way your governments are structured, the way your feelings, the way you feel, almost kind of your languages. Like exhausting, by the way, absolutely exhausting. Exhausting, darling. It's the exhausting. They might have called me darling at one point in time. And I said, call me darling, or something like that. I mean, like women, you know, like, and eventually you realize it. Like even as Brian, I was still, even with Rodney, blah, 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 they still went and contacted me, Brian, and were working with me because it's like, who's Rodney? What's a Rodney anyway? Who's these other people? Who's why are they living in your house anyway? You know, that kind of thing. So they eventually contacted me, of course, and they were in contact with me. Even Howard Hughes, basically. You know, and I was letting him kind of run wild with Amelia Earhart. They were in love. And he was doing a good job with my aircraft or something like that. I don't really know. Like, I invented the counter-rotating prop and everything. Like I said, usually when you're the creator of a life form, usually when you're the namer of a country, when you are the person who creates a planet, the only thing, like, you have to invent and foresee and think about every single problem that comes along. Or be able to have, like, otherwise you're down in the dirt. You know, I mean, it's a nice planet. It's a nice place. Other than that, if you do not lead your life forms, if you do not lead your people, you know, everyone, like the black people were being led to the chosen land. You know, where they're being led to? Belfast. Some black papa piece of shit who's going to tear it down. We'll spray paint every house. We'll tear down all the nice fixtures. Like I said, the street lights in Belfast used to be made of silver or something like that. There used to be gold bells, silver bells, gold street lights, all kinds of beautiful, gorgeous stuff in Belfast. It was immaculate. It was like some of my cities that I did had gold street lights, had silver street lights. I had more than enough metal of everything. I could ask one of my other life form types to bring it down and do it. So a lot of the streetlights were gold. A lot of the fixtures were silver and gold and stuff like that. Like I said, so you know, Mr. Brown and Mr. Black, you know, they were just going around having their people just basically tear down my nice streetlights and try and melt them down for their gold and silver value, and then try and sell them or pawn them off or whatever and pretend to be rich. Like I said, I know what the Republicans were doing, and it was the Republicans, or it was actually the Rasputins, which is probably the Republican. They're all these people pretending to be Rasputins, pretending to be this, pretending to be that. Like, it's all just this bunch of stupid stuff, and it caused me a little bit of a sticking point for a minute. I got stuck in Venice, or around Venice, basically. I was like, what's going on here? What the? Anyway, and that's when we came down on Rasputin, and he was dancing, laughing as he was firing off the cannons. They said he was dancing. He was firing the cannons into the city. So, the reputes. You later, you know, you would like these guys were so high on LSD and methamphetamine or opium or stuff, like, and they were getting all their drugs. Rasputin was getting his drugs from China. Turns out, he would charge like dollars for nose plugs, and they would spend like 3 cents, 30 cents or something, and then he would go to China to try and get drugs from China. Because I had a couple crops of whatever drugs in China. Or I had a couple places in China. I had one in China, one blah 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 blah, all over the world. I had the one, like I said, the drug lab in Russia. The Rasputins were attacking the palace, and then they went and stole the drug lab, and they just stole it. It was just the glassware that you need to make some drug, LSD or something, or methamphetamine or something, and they didn't have the formula, or they shot the person or something, so they didn't know how to make it even after they stole the equipment to make it. Like I said, the Hell's Angels or somebody basically went to go get drugs, didn't have the money, or broke in to steal the drugs or something. I don't know. Anyway, the Hell's Angels were making some bathtub acid or something like that, or bathtub whatever, and it was causing serious brain damage. The people found out, went back, and gave the same drugs to those people who had been making it, and brain damaged them. Because these people had been selling all this drugs, and they knew it was bad, or they knew it was whatever, but it looked, and it gave you an effect, and it was actually causing brain damage when it was giving you the effect. The effect was actually that you were getting brain damage. You'd feel, whoa! And that was actually your mind, your brain actually, you know, the only effect it had was basically the effect of your brain actually dying or being destroyed or something. So the effects lasted a long time. The rest of your life, basically. So anyway, so people found out eventually, or the family members found out, and then went after those people. It was Hell's Angels or bikers or someone. They were doing the bathtub acid or something like that, and like you can't make drugs in a bathtub. That's bullshit. You can't make drugs in a pathetic. You can't make a drugs in a boat. Really, I mean, maybe if you're really, 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 really good, but you got to be really good. So it takes a real laboratory. It takes real equipment to make these good drugs. If you don't have real equipment and don't have stuff, don't even bother trying. You're just gonna end up hurting someone. So that's why I had these drug labs set up. There's one in China, there's one in one country, there's one in another country, very professional, very good equipment, just there. Like I said, China had one, or someplace had one, I think it was Vietnam maybe, had one, and basically a bunch of idiots broke in there and and um, and we're like, where are the drugs, where are the drugs, where are the drugs, where are the drugs? Quick, get the drugs. It's like, and the scientists were like, you have to order it before we'll make it. You don't have that stuff on hand. You give us the formula, we'll make it for you. And one of the guys could have made it. And the guys accidentally shot the one scientist that actually knew the formula. He's like, well, I think I can. And somehow he was like reaching for his pen thing, and the guy was like, and shot him, and then shot 3 others. And then they put a gun to some poor woman's head and called in the support staff. Like, get the barricade here, the barricade will make that stuff, man. And they and the support staff said, wait, they tell us what to do. We don't know how to make this stuff. We just help them. There were 3 scientists that knew how to make the formula. That could have possibly made the formula. One of them definitely knew, and he was the oldest, and they shot him first. First, they wanted the drugs because they thought they were hiding the drugs on them. They gotta be here, man. They were like, we don't even have the chemicals to make the drugs. And they're like, you're lying. I think you might be able to thank the Hells Angels. Sometime around 1960, some year. They finally send some girl to school. They finally learn it. Sometime around 1980, 1990, they finally figure it out. Like, when you get a time trip, or when you go back and see all the things that happened, you'll either die laughing, or like most of the people who saw the truth were like, oh, wow, wow, that's something. I label it epic stupidity. Take one. Epic stupidity, take 1. Epic stupidity, take 2. Take 3. Take 4. Take 5. And Rodney and Rick Bush. And Mike and Mike's shit brother. Congress and the Senate. Hey, Rodney, when are you going to stop digging? Hey, Congress, when are you going to stop digging? And that's why at some point in time I was just like, oh, it's too late. We're past the point of no return. You've done so many things and so much that someone is going to come find you. Someone is going to make the effort to get a time ship and go back and get you. Because you killed and tortured so many people that someone is just going to do it just because. Hey, he's doing something good for life. Existence. Like the cover up. Like I said, the Republican lie, the Democratic lie, the supposed US lie is so bad that even the smallest little, like, you didn't even have to think about it. You could just like look around. Yeah, they're fucking lying. Like, I'm 100 trillion years old. Or 99 trillion years old. I'm almost 100 trillion. I love that. I'm almost 100. I'm old. Trillion years old. Like I said, every time I die, someone always brings me back eventually, or figures me out, or figures out my. Like I said, I was in existence for too long. I was a spaceship or starship for Lucifer Starship. I was Lucifer Starship for billions and billions of years, just wandering around. Like I said, I was very happy without a crew. My ship was self-repairing or didn't break down, and I just cruised from planet to planet to planet to planet. Everyone knew me. Lucifer Star is the oldest name in the whole entire universe. So even as Brian, I'm just like, ah. A lot of people were just like, we're just gonna let you go ahead and be a child, and we'll deal with this. I was like, okay. What do children do? I don't know. I've never been a child. What are children supposed to do? I've always been Lucifer Star. For a while there, Rodney kept calling me that. That kid with the fork and the what's it called. Rodney loved to fuck with me. Rodney likes to pull people down and stuff. I'm Lucifer Star. 99 trillion years old. And then there's Rodney. Yeah. Having sex, trying to sleep with Rosella. 4 blocks away from my house. People are like, do you know what he's doing? Like, I don't even want to know. Like, I warned Rodney. I said, Rodney, what you're about to do is a very big mistake. Now Rodney's probably looking at not ever existing, or probably on the list of the universe's most stupid and most tortured people. He doesn't deserve it. Realistically, like I say, it's Rick Bush. He was the genius behind the operation. The genius behind Smarter Than Average Bear. He was behind, use cones and like I said, there's an expense account set up for my entertainment or for me to go travel the world. I had a worldwide travel expense account. They decided to use that expense account to basically fuck with me. Set up loop tapes to basically just talk shit to me day and night. Rick Bush and Rodney were like, no one's going to know about this. No one's going to know about this. Everyone was like, we saw the whole thing. We saw everything you saw. We experienced, I was like, getting the drop on a 99 trillion year old life form. Rodney was like, Rick Bush was like, this kid's rich. He owns the entire country. It's rich, blah, blah, blah. It's like, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. No, keep going. This kid's the president of the United States. Keep going. It took JFK 15 years to understand shit. And he just found out where all the mines were. And still, it took them even longer to find the secret wall inside the Pentagon where all the real records were held. And Rodney or Rick Bush probably found that when they were. I think they said when they were remodeling the Pentagon, or saying they found the secret wall. But keep going. Even contractors were like, we were digging, and that's when the FBI showed up and the CIA, and we knew we must be near something. They started looking around, driving their cars around, looking at all us, filming us, and they set up this whole thing where it was a love triangle with the sun and the contractors and blah 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 and a religious group. And the truth was they were just digging deep. The guy said. He said the truth is I was just digging deep. We were just digging deep. We were contractors. We had the equipment. We knew how to mine ourselves, so we were just going down as deep as we could. See what's down there. A lot of stuff. They might have been getting near one of the aquifers, though. Like I said, you got to be careful. You can actually be digging down in the earth, and you'll dig, and suddenly you'll break into a cavern. 200 feet straight down! That's why the moles are so long, because you start to break through, and it'll take the whole train with them. Like in the old days when they used to be mining on the train tracks and stuff like that, they would have this big old thing that was rolling and stuff, and then they'd be laying down the train tracks. And they'd break into a cavern, and it would take the whole train with it. Just you get over that first little lip and into one of those caverns, and it's just e-ticket ride to hell. Straight down, 200 foot, 300 foot in one of those caverns. There's caverns all over the place. So, anyway, that used to happen a lot in the old days. They'd be having the old mining trains. They'd have these mining trains going mining and stuff like that, and they'd break into one of those caverns and just, they would say the whole 40 cars, they used to tell stories about how the whole 40 car train just disappeared into the cavern. Just took it like that. Brakes locked up and everything. 40 miles an hour right into the cavern once that first head got over the lip. So, anyway, they would say in on you're over your head, but that wouldn't be half of it. Like I said, there's not much about mining that I didn't know at one point in time. So, I lived to mine. I was only happy when I was actually doing a mine shaft. Or something. Building some city. Starting a star. Or building a planet. Like I said, we started all these planets. All these planets. Lucifer Starline. This is one of my mining operations. I was doing planetary mining. So anyway, I even negotiated deals for what's called. Like I said, Trumpy was trying to sell off Mars or one of these planets to someone. They contacted me. Everyone knows this is my star system. Everyone knows everything, all the other star systems. Everyone in the whole universe knows I'm here. Trumpy was trying to negotiate a deal with someone. Other humans from this planet were trying to negotiate a deal. And they're like, isn't that Lucifer Starline's planet and star system or whatever? Brian? What's his name these days? I was contacted. They're like, someone else is negotiating blah, blah, blah. But we know that they're yours. So we refunded the money. They borrowed a bunch of money or borrowed a bunch of space credits or something like that. So their money was returned and refunded, and they're told never to contact them again or something else like that. The White House and the Washington, D.C. building and the Republicans and Democrats have been doing this whole lie. Rodney, Rick Bush, everyone. Anyway. Like I say, many creators can create you a life form type. You can go to many of the planets and say, I want something to be in that looks like this. And they'll create you one. No problem. but they're all based on me and my work, basically. They'll just be doing, you know, everyone in the universe knew that I was the creator of endoskeleton life forms and exoskeletons. I'm the oldest, possessing the only one who actually possessed the full code for the genetic code for the human race, and one of the best, most highly smart, highly intelligent, best looking human life form types. So, anyway, I had the best, and the best looking and the smartest. I was the first creator of them, so yeah. Anyway, just kept on kind of refining them a little bit. Bodies that would blow your mind. Anyway, so yeah. Nixon or JFK or someone who had lied was like, we're going to make you look retarded. You know, and give you buck teeth and all this stuff. I was like, that's not really going to stop anything, you know. They're going to give me like weird face or something like that, make me look like the Elephant Man or something. I was like, you know, that's not going to stop them from fixing it. Anyway, I have so much credibility and credit to my name and everything else. Like I said, there are 50 or 280 sentient computers in the universe, or more, probably now thousands. I think there were millions or something like that. And then there's the nanotechnology life forms, you know, and you know, it's like now, and almost all nanotechnology had like time travel ability, I think, or something like that. They were really fast. Very progressive life forms. Very beautiful. Very wonderful. Like I'm glad I got to play with them for a while. It was really neat seeing them play in space. They were building all kinds of really ridiculous, intricate designs and everything. So I guess I was dead and they had discovered me and realized that I was their creator. Just like the Borg, or everyone realized that I was their creator and everything came from me. So they would come to pay me homage. Spend an existence with me. And many of them did. If Republicans and Democrats and JFK and Richard Nixon, Rodney and Rick Bush could do anything, the most they could do is stop me from spending such a long existence with my life forms, which is basically impossible, considering. So, anyway, about the most they could do is word of mouth for a short time, or passing notes. We caught Rick Bush and Rodney Bradley passing notes at some point in time. Rodney Bradley and Rick Bush were basically our surrogate whatevers, or surrogate AIs at one point in time. Like they were trying to pretend like they were artificial intelligence computers or something like that. So me and the rest of them made them our honorary artificial intelligence inventors. They took one of my classes basically on existence and particle matter and blah 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 blah. So, and they were pretending like they were a computer. So we were like, "You're so like, you really gonna let them take your class?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not? We'll see if they can do it." So they were cheating, of course, the whole time, and so I made them. They're getting some help from some other from a real AI or something like that, or me or something like that. So we made them our honorary artificial intelligence human. They were saying all the words like as if they were a computer and all that, but they weren't. We knew it. So I was like, "Aw, you guys." They couldn't pass the test, of course, because they couldn't actually exist in the ship. So they couldn't actually download. I was like, "All right, now download to your ship." Anyway, you know, me and the rest of existence was like, whatever. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really care. It was just ridiculous. Then they were trying to make me think that I was honoring AI or something. It was just like, Uh, whatever, dude. Whatever. Like, you would think they were on drugs or something like that. Anyway, I don't know. I don't care. It's like, Then they would kill me as a child, or call me crazy, and try to isolate. Oh, keep going, keep going. You're doing great, guys. You're doing great. Keep going, keep going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, now manipulate the magnetic field or whatever to start at whatever. Blah blah. Calculate the mathematical calculations on your own. Like I said, you can't travel faster than the speed of light, or do any kind of time travel or anything, unless you are some sort of computer AI. It's way too much math. It would take a team of thousands to do all the calculations. And it's constantly variable, or something like that. To sustain whatever takes a very massive, big computer. So anyway, like I say, I don't really care, I mean, I was existence for a longest time. I died several times. I was nuked. Um, the Rasputins were causing a serious problem for me, and Abraham Lincoln. I'll be getting dressed in Gettysburg, doing some public speaking. Like they always show it as Abraham Lincoln was like preaching to thousands in his Gettysburg address. He had a box and a table or something like that, and no one paid attention to him. He had his flyers or something like that. That was his public speaking. He had a little bench and a box and a table, and he was just like, or something. I don't know. But they show it in the things as he's like preaching on this big stand or whatever. Like I'm pretty sure the truth of how pathetic it is just like I don't know. But I think he was like saying, I'll be touring your ships and taking whatever. Like he thought he was just gonna say that he adopted me and as Lucifer's adopted father, I guess I'll be taking over the family business. It's a big family. It's a really big family. I mean, damn. Talk about epic vacation room, man. Epic vacation room. Just like, couldn't catch a break, can you, kid? Nope. Like I say, I'm just the creator of the first stars and your government and your civil systems and technology and your whole civilization and your life form type. I didn't just have life forms created for me, I created them myself. And for the very first time ever. And they've been trying to kill me ever since. Or call me crazy. You're crazy, Brian. 999 trillion years later, and are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Do you feel stupid yet? Do you feel stupid yet? Are you done yet? No, Brian, I told you no, you're not gonna win. Brian, actually, the thing is, you're actually me, older. When you get to be older, you're me. And you'll be going back in time and keeping you contained this entire time because you're going to do something bad. Blah, blah. Another lie, eh? Great. Nope, never was you, never will be you. And no, you're not. You weren't born before me. Sorry. You're very much after me, and a long, long, long time after me. So, anyway. Whatever. Too bad about the torture. Yeah, I directed my life forms to torture a few people, or at least contain a few people forever. Brian, you're the only one that's going to be contained. You're the blah, 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 blah. We can never let you get near the White House. We can never let you, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's not going to work. Whatever, it's just my house. All they had to do was let me into my house. Ah, they failed miserably. So keep making public experience. Keep making those public speeches, Abraham Lincoln or Rodney or whoever the fuck is pretending to be in my house now. Keep pretending like you actually have some power. Keep pretending like someone's actually listening to you. Kind of like me. I just get to sit here and laugh. Go, well. Oh well. Yeah, I'm hundreds of trillions, billions of years ago. I was mining and doing all kinds of stuff, and they were trying to wreck my existence. And even then, I was just mining, having some stuff made, setting up my country the right way or something like that. Little toys. I never lived as a person though. Like I said, this is what Lucifer Starline actually looks like as a person. Rodney wasn't my father. Rodney was never Lucifer Starline. Rodney was trying to pretend like he was Lucifer Starline. And I was Lucifer Starline's son. Or something. Kind of like Abraham Lincoln saying he adopted me.